trying to catch up because I work so much.
All right, all
I have
right,
too
all
many
right.
kids. Jesus, you start.
Worked a lot today too. Good evening. Welcome to Big Facts Mock Draft Edition, the final mock draft. The draft is tomorrow. We're excited about it. Maybe we're not excited about it just because it's just been miserable for Eagles fans, but I'm still excited for it because I'm just going to put all my hope into this draft and hope that we can fill some needs and have a turnaround season. Are you excited about the draft, or are you like
I am.
pretty much? Okay, that's good because last year I remember being excited, but not as excited as I am this year.
Well, this year, dude, I'm telling you, there's going to be so many things that we don't know are coming that come. It's going to be a fucking hectic day tomorrow.
It is not a straightforward draft. So what we have tonight for you is a mock draft. The draft is tomorrow evening. Round one, I believe, will take 3 hours. Obviously, all 32 teams. Some don't have a first-round pick, but most will pick. Who doesn't have a first-round pick? I have to think about that. So the Eagles are sitting at 12. So here's some of the rumors real quick, just let's talk about the rumors before we get into this that we've heard this week just in regards to the draft.
Some of these I think are legit, by the way, these rumors with the Eagles.
So the two rumors that I've heard coming from the Eagles, there's a ton of rumors with the Eagles. So let's go one by one. Do you think there's truth that if Jalen Waddle's on the board for them, it's going to be hard for them to pass him up?
From what I understand and what I have heard, Jalen Waddle is number one on their board.
Okay.
From what I'm hearing, I, as much as I disagree with it, because again, if you were in the market for a wide receiver, you stay at 6 and move to 4 to get ahead of Cincinnati if they're really that interested in Jamar Chase. Yeah. I don't get what unless your concern as the Philadelphia Eagles is that Jamar Chase took a year off. I don't see how you put Jalen Waddle above Jamar Chase in this draft class.
Yeah, I really like Waddle, and I think I would like him at 12. But I'm not. It's not like one of those slam dunk picks like last year when CeeDee Lamb dropped. You're like, that's a fucking slam dunk pick, especially at the position that they were picking. Cowboys end up snagging him. I didn't feel like Henry Ruggs at the position he was taking was a slam dunk. I thought Jerry Jeudy was probably the best wide receiver in the class. So on and so forth. And then obviously, what happened with Jalen Reagor and Justin Jefferson. Second rumor with the Eagles, there's a lot of rumors about them potentially trading back because there's a lot of teams that if specific players, especially a QB or the second-rated offensive lineman is available, they could potentially get a haul from a team looking to move up between the 15 and the 25 spot and trying to get into that 12 spot for someone like a Rashawn Slater. Or someone like a Mac Jones. The likelihood of them moving back in this draft, what are you thinking?
If Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots legitimately want to get Mac Jones, and we'll obviously get into this once we get to the picks, the San Francisco 49ers aren't taking Mac Jones. I don't care what you want to tell me. Nobody on planet Earth is going to convince me of that now. There's too much potential in Trey Lance. There's too much right now in Justin Fields. Mac Jones doesn't do it for me going to San Francisco. If Mac Jones is available at 12, I think Bill Belichick going from 15 to 12 is a far more likely scenario. I saw Pro Football Focus had them trading to 7 with Detroit. They're not going to give up the capital that you need to jump into the top 10. I think that's likely. The other way I think this is likely is if the board shakes out where Waddle, Surtain, and J.C. Horn are all off the board come the Eagles pick, they'll trade back to 18 to 20 because from what I understand, they're in love with Kwity Paye. You'll get Kwity Paye between 18 and 20. They'll get their edge rusher of the future. Brandon Graham's getting older, and they'll probably somehow find a way to pull out another first-round draft pick next year for it because this is the year to overpay to move up.
Yeah, so I was going to agree with that point on Kwity Paye. They can move back 5 spots probably and still get Kwity Paye. I don't think the Patriots are going to be the team that offers to move up in the Eagles spot. And the only reason I say that is because the Chargers have Justin Herbert, so they don't need to jump ahead of the Chargers, and the Vikings have Kirk Cousins. So if you think Mac Jones and Kirk Cousins have similar ceilings, I don't think you give up capital to get a Mac Jones, even in that system. But obviously, I think Bill Belichick could get more out of a Kirk Cousins type player than anyone on the Vikings like Mike Zimmer has been able to. So we'll see what happens with that. Any other rumors that you're hearing about?
None that are of serious note. I heard somebody told somebody else that Jacksonville may be more in love with Zach Wilson than Trevor Lawrence. I think that narrative is just to get clicks and push some traffic to a fucking website. Personally,
Yeah.
the rise of Elijah Vera Tucker is really bothersome to me as I'm writing down my picks because I do this shit last minute because I work so much. I think Elijah Vera Tucker was an 18 to 24 for me 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and I think he's more than likely to go in the top 13 now.
Yeah.
There's some guys rising and falling, bro. I mean, Micah Parsons, who a week ago again I would have put in the 15 range. Micah Parsons is in my top 10. There's a lot of movement. I don't buy into the rumor, and we'll talk about this because I know your mock for picks in has something to do with this. I don't buy that Denver is moving up. I don't think they need to. Number one, that's why I don't buy it. I don't think they'll have to. I think there's going to be a quarterback they can get if they stand pat at 9. And you're not going to sell assets if you don't need to, is how I kind of feel with them.
So in doing this mock so that everybody's following, this is a combination of two things. It's what I think these teams are going to do, and also combining that with what I think these teams should do in evaluating their weaknesses, their needs, their draft position, and their futures. So let's get 1 and 2 out of the way, Justin, because we have a lot to talk about. So 1 and 2, we are 99.9% sure, as is most of the media and everybody else, that Jacksonville will be taking Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
And that the Jets will be taking Zach Wilson. So the draft here starts at pick 3. So pick 3, we've talked with the betting gurus about, just we've talked between each other about. We've probably talked about more about San Francisco picking at 3 and who they're going to pick over the last month than maybe any other spot in the draft. I have San Fran going in a different direction than what they've been telling everybody else, and I'll tell you why. I have them picking Justin Fields at 3. I know you disagree with that. All the talk has been pointing to Trey Lance and Mac Jones. I think they haven't released any information to anybody. That's all speculation. I think they showed up at Mac Jones' pro day first to kind of put up a smoke screen, and they're taking Justin Fields at 3. You know when you're going to 3 what you're looking for, and you could have stayed back a little bit or moved up to maybe 6, 7, or 8 if you wanted to get a Mac Jones or Trey Lance, because one of them is going to fall. So you're not choosing between one of them two. I'm going with Fields. Your thoughts?
I disagree with you. I think Fields has fallen on a lot of guys' boards. I don't know why. As I've said to you multiple times, in my opinion, watching the tape I've watched, Justin Fields is the best quarterback in this draft. I agree with they should follow the Aaron model and draft Justin Fields. Trey Lance is Kyle Shanahan's guy. Size, athleticism, raw talent. You have Jimmy Garoppolo. You don't need a quarterback that's ready day one. That's why the Mac Jones narrative never made sense to me. I think the way that San Francisco is built is made for a Trey Lance pick. Trey Lance going to a team that has a completed defense and a decently completed offense. You have a security blanket of George Kittle. There's a lot of really good things there. I think that they're looking more tomorrow than today. If you're looking today, Justin Fields is the guy. I don't think that Kyle Shanahan is a year, 2 years, 3 years down the line in his thought process. I think he believes he can get his hands on Trey Lance and make him the next Russell Wilson.
So the second reason, and we'll move on from this pick after this, but the second reason I think they're taking Fields is because Justin Fields has proven the one thing that Shanahan's last 2 QBs have not been able to prove. And that's being the best quarterback on the field in big games. He had Matt Ryan, couldn't score any more points offensively, blew a 28-3 lead against the Patriots. And then he goes and he has a third quarter lead against Patrick Mahomes' Chiefs, lets up off the gas pedal with the quarterback, and loses that game as well. Justin Fields, we've seen outperform other quarterbacks in big games. He's a big game guy. Shanahan wants to win the whole thing. He's not thinking about regular season. He's not thinking about playoffs. He wants to have the best quarterback in the division in a couple years. I'm going to say Fields. You're going to say Lance. I think they both have extremely high ceilings, and there's potential for Atlanta to trade back in this next pick for either one that's there after this. So we'll mock it up to one of those two. We'll keep it Fields since the mock is written down. And then we'll move on to Atlanta at 4. Now,
we couldn't disagree on this any more than we do.
Another draft-altering pick. This pick right here alters the entire draft. Now, I think if the Falcons, and I think you're going to agree with this, if the Falcons stay at 4, they're going to draft Kyle Pitts.
I don't think that it's even a thought of Kyle Pitts there. I think when you're at 4 and you can get the consensus best player of the draft, why wouldn't you? I do feel like because of Atlanta and the history of their franchise, this is a spot where it is possible that Penei Sewell goes to protect Matt Ryan for another 2 years. I don't know where they are in the Matt Ryan career arc yet. That's the only question I'd have there if that's the route they go. But they're the two routes that make sense to me. I know that on yours, who do you have trading up to 4? Denver, right?
I still have Denver, and we'll talk about the Bridgewater trade in a second, but I have Denver trading up. Bridgewater has 1 year left on his deal. He's a fill-in guy for this year. They know they can win games. They know they're going to win. Let's put it this way, Just. With Teddy Bridgewater in that lineup, he's going to play the same role that he was basically playing on the Saints. There's guys coming back from injury on defense. They're playing at mile high. They're going to have a decent defense this year. All he has to do is not turn the ball over. They're going to be in a worse spot next year. They're probably going to be around the middle of the pack in the draft. So they don't want to go into next year thinking they need another quarterback. They move up this year 5 spots. They give it to Atlanta. They still go with the quarterback. Your thoughts?
I don't think they need to. It's that simple for me. So from 4 all the way to 9, there's not another quarterback that goes on my mock. Unless there's a trade, there's not another quarterback that goes. So I have mine just to update. Trey Lance is my number 3 to San Francisco. Kyle Pitts at 4 to Atlanta. Again, maybe Penei Sewell. I don't see how a team says no to again, the highest rated athlete coming out of the draft in a long time is what Kyle Pitts is.
Listen, I love Pitts. I do. I think I rate him as high as you do. I just don't. I think if you're Atlanta, you're trying to find a guy that's going to change the dynamic of the franchise. And I just don't think on the offensive side of the ball, they need that guy. They need it badly on defense. And if they
trade Julio, they do.
You still have Calvin Ridley.
That's it. Hard stop.
And you still have Matt Ryan. I mean,
but Calvin Ridley's your only guy.
He had a good year last year. I mean,
Calvin Ridley is your only game breaker on the offensive side of the ball. I think the dark horse here too is Jamar Chase. If they get a trade pulled off pre-draft for Julio Jones, if it happens before their selection, I would not be surprised a little bit that they go Jamar Chase and just replace Julio.
If he gets traded before the draft, I would agree with that.
So let's move on. Let's move on to the next one. 5. I don't know what yours is. I see way too much smoke for there not to be a fire. The Cincinnati Bengals are going to make the wrong decision and draft Jamar Chase.
It's the wrong decision.
It is absolutely the wrong decision. You have a franchise quarterback who set records in college in his first season tore his ACL because you have no protection. Penei Sewell is the right, and it doesn't even need to be Penei Sewell. I would be okay with Christian Darrisaw. I'd be okay with Rashawn Slater. The top 3 or 4 offensive linemen this year are all kind of 1A, B, C,
whoever's best on your board.
Exactly. Whatever guy interviewed best, whatever guy plays the position you need the most. If you feel like you need inside guard help more than outside tackle, Vera Tucker wouldn't be a surprise there. But they're going to draft Jamar Chase. They're going to give Joe Burrow a 10-year franchise cornerstone weapon. I think it's wrong. It pisses me off, but this is also the reason why Philadelphia traded out of the 6th spot. If they knew that Jamar Chase would be there at 6, Howie Roseman doesn't move. They draft the cornerstone of the franchise and stay at 6. Because they moved is the reason I'm saying they're taking Jamar Chase at 5.
Or just like I'm seeing on these mocks for some crazy reason, people are starting to mock Waddle over Chase. And it's driving
That's a little too much. I have Waddle over Devontae Smith by Devontae's here. Waddle's here. Waddle goes 5 spots above Smith on my board.
I have Smith falling pretty far.
Me too. I'm curious to see where we get there.
And it's not because I'm personally low on him. I love Devontae Smith, but I just think he's going to fall in this draft. Let's go to Miami.
So now Miami at 6. I think there's only one. Now I get your number 5 is Penei Sewell, right?
Yeah.
So number 6 is Jamar Chase for you, right?
Correct. Yep.
Again, what a great world for both teams. That should that happen? Yes.
Yeah. You can't miss.
I have them reversed. I have Penei Sewell going to protect Tua because that motherfucker needs as much help as he can get.
So Detroit's then another interesting spot.
I think this one's a lock.
Detroit needs a lot of help in a lot of different places. However, let's rule out quarterback. They just traded for Jared Goff on a huge contract.
Yep.
They just lost Kenny Golladay as their big wide receiver.
Yep.
So they probably need a weapon there. They have terrible line on both sides of the ball.
Yep.
So I actually went with a pick that might surprise some people, but I wouldn't be surprised if this guy was the top-rated player, top-rated offensive lineman on a lot of people's boards, and he's the one guy I think that is going to protect Jared Goff for the next couple of years. I got Christian Darrisaw going at 7 to Detroit.
That's a reach. That's a reach.
It's a reach if he's not rated where I'm rating him. But that coach wants a defensive line. He wants an offensive line. They have a $100 million quarterback now, and they have to protect him. Penei Sewell's probably going to be off the board. Some people have Rashawn Slater rated as the next lineman. I have Darrisaw rated as the next lineman. You need the tackle.
They need leaders, and I'm with you. Micah Parsons is going to be a Detroit Lion. Lock solid. Okay. The Detroit Lions are the only team in the top 10 that are stupid enough to not care that this guy just wants to play football for 5 years and get famous. I know you're not in this area often anymore. Yeah. John Ritchie on WIP is from the same place that Micah Parsons is. His family knows Micah Parsons' family, and Micah Parsons has made it clear since he was 16 years old that he is going to be really, really, really fucking good at football and play himself a 5-year rookie contract as a top 10 draft pick, and he's probably going to retire.
Well, you don't retire after the rookie contract. You get the second one first.
Not Micah Parsons. Bro. This guy
he wants to make $2 million, $3 million a year for the next 5 years.
Micah Parsons is a Fruit Loop, bro. He's crazy. Yeah. He's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I'm telling you. I listen every day. I listen every day on the radio to everybody. And again, guys like John Ritchie who've known this kid since he was in fucking Pampers. This is just he's just crazy. This is why even if he falls to 12, I have no interest in him in a Philadelphia Eagles uniform. None. Yeah, it's a shame. Micah Parsons, my guy.
It's a shame because he might be the best pure defensive player, playmaker, versatile guy on the board.
Patrick Surtain still holds that for me, but Micah Parsons is a 1B for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so you have Parsons. I have Darrisaw. I think Parsons is probably more likely. Most of my pick with Detroit was that I like Darrisaw. I think you got to protect Goff. I think that's what they should do. So the Panthers are probably going to stay in this spot at 8 or move down. They believe in Sam Darnold, obviously. They traded Teddy Bridgewater, who had a great season last year. This is an easy one for me because he's already off the board, and I know Kyle Pitts went to Atlanta for you at 4. Kyle Pitts is going 8th because the Panthers cannot believe that he fell into their lap. They give Sam Darnold a weapon. They put a guy on the line. They give him a red zone threat. They lost Curtis Samuel last year. So if Pitts is still available at this spot at 8, which I think is probably the perfect place to take a tight end. I know we're talking about an all-world athlete at this point, which is going to change some draft boards, but if he falls to 8, I have them taking Kyle Pitts.
How does Miami at 6 take Jamar Chase over Kyle Pitts? I don't get that. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't think, again, I have Kyle Pitts going to 4 at Atlanta. Atlanta stands pat.
Because they have Gesicki still, and Gesicki's a good tight end. So
it's not a comparison.
It doesn't change your franchise the way Jamar Chase is going to change it.
So I initially had Justin Fields here. I know that Matt Rule is in love with Justin Fields, but I do believe that Sam Darnold is their guy.
They believe in him, yeah.
I think that they believe Sam Darnold's their guy. Therefore, I have at number 8 Carolina standing pat, not trading out, and they're drafting Rashawn Slater to protect Sam Darnold. I love Christian Darrisaw. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you and I have talked about him to exhaustion. I think he's right behind Penei Sewell. But Sam Darnold is a guy that needs a clean pocket. And if you're going to try to protect a quarterback that has deficits, you need a pure pass blocker. And that's what Sewell and Slater are. So I have Slater going 8.
Okay.
Now,
so
let me tell you for a second, I'm going to start with 9 because you got Atlanta falling down here.
Yeah.
Here is the reason. This is the sole reason why Atlanta has no chance at this trade. None. Other than New England. From this pick that we're at right now all the way to the end of the draft, nobody needs a quarterback. Nobody else is left, right? I have Trey Lance.
Well, unless the Giants surprise some people, but yeah,
no, I can't.
The Giants, the Bears, and Washington could take a quarterback.
but the Bears in Washington, you're talking about what, 20 and 24? They don't have enough capital to get there, and they won't sell out the next 4 years just to get the third or fourth or fifth ranked quarterback.
Washington's done it before, but go ahead.
Well, that's why Washington won't do it again because Robert Griffin III still haunts their fucking nightmares.
Sliders there though, so go ahead.
So at number 9, Denver does not trade down. This is not Atlanta's pick, and they get Justin Fields at number 9. And Denver is doing fucking cartwheels naked across the fucking highway because the fact that you get Justin Fields at number 9 is mind blowing.
Yeah, if Trey Lance goes, at 3 to San Fran, I would agree with you that come the 8th, 9th, 10th pick, he's still going to be there. So they would be doing
because of Teddy Bridgewater. If your trade pans out, if you or your pick pans out, if Justin Fields is number 3, I think that this is Trey Lance. I think they still get one of their 2 guys, and they don't have to move or give up one piece of capital.
So one of the other reasons I had the Falcons trading back is because they need defensive players more than anybody in this draft. They blow leads. They give up a lot of points. And they know that if they pick a defensive player at 4, it's a major reach. If you pick a defensive player at 5 or 6 at this point in this draft, it's probably a major reach. So they get to go back to 9, and they get maybe the best defensive player on the board in Patrick Surtain. They address their DB spot. He might be the best prospect in the draft. So I think if the Falcons do trade back, they will address the defense. It's the reason they trade back. I go with Surtain at 9, which brings us to the Cowboys.
Who I have Patrick Surtain going to.
So some news, by the way, and there's a reason I went with the pick that I went here. Sean Lee retired. Now, Sean Lee hasn't been on the field much, but he was the unquestionable leader of the defense. He's the quarterback of the defense. So they need to replace that position, correct? Micah Parsons is going there if he does fall to 10 for the Cowboys for me. It's also a sexy pick. Cowboys like the sexy pick. So I would think address the
So what if your trade doesn't happen and Patrick Surtain and Micah Parsons are on the board?
For the Cowboys?
Yeah, they go Patrick Surtain, right? They
go Surtain if they're both there.
So I have Surtain at 10, which I believe is the spot he'll go. As we're approaching here, I do want to talk about this real quick. I find it likely that from 9, Denver decides to move and settle with Teddy Bridgewater. Because again, 10 and 11 are not going to be quarterbacks. Whoever you're drafting at 9, you're still going to get at 12. I think that it's possible if the Eagles are sold on Patrick Surtain, they give up one of these third-round picks that they got, maybe another 3 next year, move up a few spots and draft Surtain at 9. That's what I'd like to see happen. Yeah. I did not do any trades in this mock because who the fuck knows what's going to happen. So moving on to 11 to the New York Football Giants. Yeah. This was the first spot where I looked at it and I went, that's where that guy's going. I have Christian Darrisaw going to. They need all the fuck. Dude, they need all the help in the world for Daniel Jones that they can find.
So we're going to be about even at this point on our draft boards with most of the same people off the board, just in a different order.
Slater?
I have Rashawn Slater going 11 to the Giants. If he falls to them, they're going to be thrilled with that pick. They pass on a wide receiver, obviously. I see them mocked taking Devontae Smith. They got Kenny Galladay. They have a couple weapons. You got to protect Daniel Jones if you think they seem to think he's the guy. I haven't seen anything that makes me think he's the guy. I've seen some big plays. I've seen inconsistent plays. I've seen some really, really bad plays. So I don't think he's the guy. They think he's the guy. They're going to protect him. Rashawn Slater goes. Brings us to the Eagles, and guess who's still on the board?
Who's still on your board?
Jalen Waddle.
I have the same. I have Jalen Waddle written down.
It's hard for me to imagine if Waddle's on the board with how much they like him, they're going to pass on him. This is obviously a place too where J.C. Horn could go. I don't think they're going to do that. It's also a place where obviously they could trade down if the board doesn't fall the way they want to. If Jalen Waddle is not there, they really like Kwity Paye. I think Jalen Waddle is too much upside to pass up. He's being ranked in some mocks and some prospect lists ahead of Jamar Chase. I don't think that's reasonable, but I think he can be a number one in the NFL. So we both agree that Jalen Waddle goes to the Eagles. I'd be pretty happy with that. I don't know if you'd be happy with that, Just. I think we've had some discussions. You told me you wouldn't. But I would be
here's
happy.
the thing. If I can't get Patrick Surtain, Jalen Waddle is, in my opinion, Jalen Waddle is a similar settle to J.C. Horn. I think it's close. I don't want to call them same because they're obviously different positions.
Yeah.
I think the effect they have on your winning percentage is about the same. I believe Jalen Waddle is better than Devontae Smith. I believe Jalen Waddle has the body and the physicality to become a number one, an Antonio Brown type. Will it translate? I don't know. That's the only question I've got with Jalen Waddle. I have Jalen Waddle written down because unless they trade down or do something stupid because Howie Roseman thinks he's the smartest guy in the room and they want the best edge rusher in the draft, and even though it was at 12, we drafted Kwity Paye that they're fucking in love with too. I think J.C. Horn and Jalen Waddle is basically a coin toss if Surtain's off the board.
Yeah. Now let me address this real quick. Someone said Justin Fields to Carolina. We're trying to win our first Super Bowl and Sam ain't it. Buddy, you are so far away from winning your first Super Bowl.
Especially because Christian McCaffrey is probably not going to be a Panther after next year.
That ain't the pick. You can't address the quarterback position when you just traded for Darnold, gave up the capital that you gave up, and have way too many holes to fill, both on the offensive line and the defense as a whole. You lost a wide receiver this year. It's just there's too much going on for you to even consider picking a quarterback because you think you're going to win the Super Bowl over the next 2 years. It's a 3 to 5 year project for you guys to even be contending in the playoffs. So
100% agree.
Yeah,
so I'm curious. I have to imagine that with the Los Angeles Chargers, we're probably on the same page here.
Yeah, Elijah Vera Tucker's the easy pick. He's ready to play. He's going to get plugged right in. He's going to give Justin Herbert some time. Yeah.
Okay. What do we have at 14 for Minnesota?
So Minnesota can go a lot of different directions, but most of their problems are obviously on defense. I think if J.C. Horn falls to them, they're going to pick him. The secondary.
J.C. Horn's my guy too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Patriots.
Horn.
Patriots.
Easy one for me too?
Sitting there, and Mac Jones.
Easy one?
That's an easy one. Although, to be honest with you, bud, I never have any idea who the Patriots are going to pick. They could think Mac Jones stinks and go in a completely different direction. So I don't know what the Patriots are going to do.
I think Mac Jones is Bill Belichick's guy.
We'll see. Pocket passer will, he obviously did a lot with those. The next couple picks for me are surprising for a lot of people. So why don't you give us 16?
16, the Arizona Football Cardinals. I can't believe it. But again, I looked at, on my way home, I listened to 2 different other podcasts. I looked while I was at work today. I think we both agree that Kwity Paye is the best edge rusher in this draft.
We agree, yeah.
Christian Barmore, I have at 16.
That is a good thought, and I wouldn't be surprised if it went in that direction. I'm going to address the secondary with another guy that a lot of people really like that I think someone's going to reach for because he has a lot of upside. And I think the Cardinals take Greg Newsome. He's a cornerback.
Whoa.
Really highly rated on a lot of boards. Last year, this guy was a junior, and he gave up fewer than 100 yards for the season. I don't know exactly how many games that was, but he was locking people down. I think he's going to go, if he doesn't go there, somewhere around the 20 mark, but I have the Cardinals addressing the defense, getting Greg Newsome, but I do like the Barmore pick.
God damn, that's high. All right, Las Vegas Raiders, I'll just say it. The fall has ended. The free fall, whistling Roadrunner down to plop. Here we now finally have Devontae Smith to the Raiders.
I wouldn't be surprised because they're the type of franchise that's going to pick the sexy wide receiver, right? But they have a lot of issues. They got Henry Ruggs from Alabama last year. It didn't work out exactly the way they wanted. I have them going with Kwity Paye, addressing the defensive line, getting the best edge rusher. Gruden traded Khalil Mack a couple years ago. I know he regrets it. He gets what he thinks is the best pass rusher in the draft. He's excited about it. Kwity Paye goes to the Raiders.
I don't think he values the defense that much.
Well, they need to because they suck. So,
now I got to say this before you say. I'm going to let you tell me your pick at 18 for Miami with the second pick first.
Yeah,
I believe sans the first 3 picks where there's really only 1 or 2 right guys. There is 1 right pick for the Miami Dolphins, regardless of which one of our ideas they end up with, whether it's me thinking Penny Sewell or you thinking Jamar Chase. There's 1 guy, in my opinion. Who do you have going to Miami at 18?
Well, I have a trade.
Oh, fucking Jesus Christ. Okay. Who's trading whom?
So I'm assuming you're going with Najee Harris.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that Green Bay is going to move up in this draft and try to get Aaron Rodgers another weapon because they know he has a couple years left.
You're not going to say Devontae Smith.
Want to make them happy. They can't believe that Devontae Smith fell to 18. They go out, they put Devontae Smith on the other side of Adams, and they have just the best offense in the NFL.
It is. I would tell you a dream scenario for Green Bay. I don't think that
they've moved up the last couple drafts. That's why
I don't think Miami's moving off Najee Harris, bro.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to happen.
We'll see.
Number 19, the Washington football team.
So at this point, if you wanted a quarterback, they're off the board, right? You're not reaching for
Kyle Trask here. No.
You're not reaching for Trask or Mond. That you can get them in the second round if you want to move up then. They have a great front 4. They have a decent offensive line. They have a good enough serviceable running back. They probably need a wide receiver, but the best wide receivers are off the board. I wouldn't be surprised if they went Bateman or Elijah Moore or somebody like that. But I have them taking the linebacker from Notre Dame, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. And I think they complete that front 7 there and just keep building up that defense and making it real hard.
They need a cornerback more than they need a linebacker, and this is where Caleb Farley goes.
I had him there initially too. I was thinking about him there.
I like Koramoah though. I got to tell you the truth, bro. If Howie trades down, and somehow this is just an opinion, obviously, and like everyone else's asshole, it stinks. I'm sure. I think that Owusu-Koramoah will be 3 years from now the steal of the century of this draft. Yeah. I think Micah Parsons is such a great raw athlete. I don't take that away from him. Between the hash marks, this kid from Notre Dame is the best linebacker I've seen come out really since Luke Kuechly. Yeah. He's unbelievable. I don't hate that pick a little bit. I think Washington needs too much help in the secondary. Caleb Farley can't fall much further than 19 or 20. I just think that Ron Rivera knows talent when he sees it.
I have a feeling that Farley, just given his injury history, may fall out of the first round because I think there's some corners that guys like. I think his speed and his raw talent are great. I think the injuries and everything else surrounding him is a question mark, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets taken at the end of the first round or in the second. Someone takes a chance on him. Washington's not real. See, the way I look at this is what team can afford to take a chance on a guy who's had an injury like that. The Bucks, for instance, can take a chance on a corner, right? They're just drafting.
But I think the front 7 in Washington's good enough. They can take that chance.
It is, but they're going to have the best of the best, and I think they're going to be the best.
I guess, bro.
Washington can go a lot of ways.
Chicago, the Bears. Who do you got? Is this another trade, or is the Bears going to make the pick?
This is it. So I have Tevin Jenkins, Oklahoma State. They need a tackle. They're going to probably address the quarterback position in the next 2 years. They got to build up the offensive line. They're weak there. The defense will bounce back and be good. but I think they need to draft an offensive lineman. I think he's the next best one on the board.
4 spots later, Kwity Paye finds a beautiful home on the other side of a defensive line of Khalil Mack. Kwity Paye will look like what we thought Jadeveon Clowney was going to be, playing across from Khalil Mack. I don't think Chicago, I think in this position, unless one of the top offensive linemen fall, unless Devontae Smith falls, unless by some unknown reason a quarterback falls, they have to... I know Khalil Mack is still incredible, but he's getting older. You have to get a guy in there to take some of those double teams away, and Kwity Paye's the best edge rusher in this draft. So Kwity Paye, to me, goes at 20 to the Chicago Bears. Now, who does Miami take at 21? Is this Najee Harris now?
Oh, what did I missed a pick here. So Indy's got who's after
oh, my bad. Yeah, Indianapolis. You're right. At
Indy's
21.
Here, right? Okay. So Indy is interesting, right? They could go wide receiver, but Carson's like one of those weird guys who's kind of proven through his career that he can get pretty good production out of just pretty good wide receivers. T.Y. Hilton, Michael Pittman Jr. are still there. They have a really good running back they're going to lean on. They have a good offensive line. They could probably use a tackle, but some of the best ones are off the board. I think, and you have them off the board already, you put Christian Barmore next to DeForest Buckner. You're playing in a division with Tennessee, and you have to stop Derrick Henry. I would love that pick for them, just clogging up the middle, making sure that no one could get off their running game against you. I got Barmore going if he falls to Indy at 21.
I have Greg Newsome at 21.
Okay.
Again, I agree with you. I think Indy, especially after acquiring Carson Wentz, they need to shore up that defense any fucking way they can. Edge
Even
rusher.
more, yeah.
Yeah, linebacker. I really, really thought potentially this would be Koromoa for me. I don't think Frank Reich is of the Doug Peterson tree and the Andy Reid tree. Those guys don't value linebackers, so I just don't think that that's a pick that they make. I think
they
for
have
me,
Darius Leonard too.
Yeah, but again, with Carson Wentz leading your franchise, your defense cannot be too good. I do agree though. This is the reason why I went corner here. I think they need help in the secondary much more.
Tennessee had a pretty lousy defensive year last year, coming off a good defensive year the year before.
You can't go defense here, bro.
In Tennessee, why not? They have 2 great wide receivers, a great running back.
Great. What great wide receivers play for the Tennessee Titans?
Hold on. There's 2 of them. The guy that went.
Corey Davis used to be a Tennessee Titan, and then he left.
There's 2 of them over there. Hold on.
Take your time. I'll wait.
Yeah, thanks. A.J. Brown, but
good?
Yeah, Davis left. No, he's really good. He's really good.
Yeah, he's really good. I wouldn't call him great.
So you think they're going to take a wide receiver?
Elijah Moore, without a doubt.
Okay. I have them addressing their defensive end position, losing Clowney last year, not being able to get any pressure on the quarterback. Jason Owe, who some people think is one of probably the best defensive end on the board, aside from Kwity Paye. Penn State defensive end. I think they address the defense. I don't think there's any way that
the Penn State defensive end that didn't log a sack last year.
He's going to be good. He's going to be good.
All right, hold on. I got to write him down because he was further down my board. Jason Owe.
He had a great.
I think that's a little high, but that's all right. So 23. What do we have?
We're gonna be different on this one. You had. Well, go ahead. I'll let you do this one first.
Oh no, I start. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Right. So in my mock, Najee Harris is still on the board. You drafted Zach Wilson. You don't have a running back at all. He's the best running back on the board. Zach Wilson needs a running back he can hand the ball off to and trust.
Is Le'Veon Bell not a Jet anymore?
No, he went to the fucking Chiefs last year.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
So Najee Harris comes off the board. Frank Gore retired. They don't have a running back. Zach Wilson needs some help in the backfield. He's also got the best hands out of the running backs in the draft. Doesn't drop anything. And they pick him 1 pick before where everyone else is mocking him to, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I think the Steelers would be stupid to go running back. There's too many holes on that team. If you're running Ben Roethlisberger back and you don't take the best offensive lineman you can find,
back and take Mond. Trade back and take Mond.
If you are going to run out a fucking 38, however old Ben Roethlisberger is, fucking putting white smoke out the exhaust pipe, knees falling apart, and you don't draft more offensive line depth.
Yeah,
I can't. We'll get there in a second.
So
Jalen Phillips, edge rusher for Miami.
Okay.
Is going to the Jets. They do need a ton of help. I mean, Leonard Williams didn't work out for them. Both lines are atrocious. There's so much shit that they need. You get Zach Wilson to begin the rebuild of your offense. You get most boards, the one I'm looking at right now, I think they have Jalen Phillips at the 3rd or the 4th rated edge rusher.
Some have him going to Miami.
Most people are saying he's the most NFL ready. Like Kwity Paye's got some shit to learn. There's guys that are going to have a learning curve. Most people think Jalen Phillips is ready to walk into an NFL team and be an every down edge rusher. I think they need so much help that you have to build something on the defensive side of the ball.
Pittsburgh Steelers lose out on Najee Harris, who everyone thinks they're going to pick. I still think they're going to pick a halfback. I have them going
at 24.
Pittsburgh.
You have 2 running backs going in the first round,
back to back.
Wow. Who?
Yeah. So I think the Steelers will take Javonte Williams if Najee Harris is off the board. His broken tackle rate is really high. They need a guy that's going to stay in the game. James Conner just doesn't stay on the field for them. They need a shifty guy. I think they're going to take a running back regardless. If Najee Harris is off the board, they go Javonte Williams, halfback, North Carolina.
You had him going number 20, Tevin Jenkins.
Mm-hmm.
You need so much help on that offensive line.
If Tevin Jenkins falls to 24, that's a good pick for them.
You can't reach for a second round halfback when Tevin Jenkins is on the board at 24. You can't.
He's not a second. I mean, I don't think the gap between running backs, especially when you're talking about running backs in the NFL, are
come on, bro.
Really bad.
Come on, Skip. Let's move on. 25.
Jaguars address the defense. Trevin Moehrig, they need a safety bad. TCU.
Same.
Browns.
This one's a lot more difficult.
So the Browns have a lot of stars on defense, and then they have some very average players on defense. Their offense, for the most part, is pretty set. They have a good O-line. They have 2 great running backs. They have really good, elite, I would say, wide receivers when Odell Beckham's on the field with Jarvis Landry. They have a very good tight end. There's not a tight end that's going to be taken in the first round after Pitts at any point, obviously. So, Jamin Davis, linebacker, Kentucky, is who I have going to the Browns.
Close for me, only because he's not off my board. Koromoa is what I have.
Okay. Yep. Makes sense. If he falls to them, they're going to be fucking thrilled.
Cleveland's going to be a fucking problem if he falls to them. Now, Baltimore is interesting for a couple of reasons. Most of the rumors of Julio Jones that I've seen is Baltimore. Mm-hmm. If that happens, this changes the entire pick for Baltimore.
Yeah. Same.
For me, this is a wide receiver.
Yep.
I like Terrace Marshall. I think he is behind this first 3 or 4 guys. I think he's the best one up there. Rashad Bateman is a great wide receiving prospect too. I think it could go either way. Because I'm a little biased towards Terrace Marshall Jr., I'm going Terrace Marshall to the Baltimore Ravens.
So I got a wide receiver as well, just a different one. I have them taking Elijah Moore.
Oh, so we just flip-flopped that one.
Yeah.
All right, Elijah Moore. I like that. Number 28, the New Orleans Saints. What don't they need?
Well, they definitely need a quarterback, and they're not going to take one here. So the Saints, I have taking addressing their secondary, trying to shore up the defense, running the ball a little bit more this year. Still have some weapons on offense, but are going to have trouble getting the ball to those weapons. So address the defense. Asante Samuel Jr., bud. How about that? Putting him back in your secondary. I think it's a safe pick for them, and I think it's a good pick for them.
I don't disagree with safe or good. I disagree that it's a bigger need than that defensive line. I have Jason Oweh here. I don't hate either or. I think if they end up with either guy, they're probably happy. I just think, again, you build from the inside out, not the outside in. And I don't know that Asante Samuel Jr. is a first-round draft pick. Not to give away my hand, we still have 4 picks to go in this round. He could be. I don't know that Asante Samuel is a first-round draft pick.
Okay. So here we'll go.
Number 29, Green Bay Packers. Oh, no, they traded up earlier. Who'd they trade with? Miami.
So I actually confused myself a little bit here. One sec. All right. So Miami's pretty set on the defensive side of the ball. And then earlier in the draft, we had them taking Jamar Chase. I have them 3. You're going to love this, but 3 running backs going off the board because they traded back.
How the fuck?
Clemson, Travis Etienne, running back, Miami.
I don't even know why I fucking wrote that down. So there's a couple directions that we can go here. Again, Asante Samuel Jr. is on the board. They can use some help. I personally have Eric Stokes from Georgia above Asante Samuel Jr.
Stokes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, since the departure of Clay Matthews, who has Green Bay had to run? Again, Miami is not making this pick in Justin's mock draft. Only Aaron's made-up world is where fucking Green Bay trades up for no reason. I have Carlos Basham Jr. from Wake Forest going here.
Okay. Better junior year than senior year for him, but potential's definitely
yeah, but
there.
again, dude, we're talking about Jamar Chase getting drafted in the top 5, and he didn't play football last year.
It was a weird year. So Buffalo for me is a slam dunk for them. So if this guy's there, because he hasn't gone off my board, he went off your board a couple picks ago. If Buffalo sees Jalen Phillips still on the board from Miami, need an edge rusher, need to shore up the defense, they take Jalen Phillips from Miami at pick 30.
Eric Stokes.
Okay.
And again, for that reason, I agree with 100%. I think if at this stage most of your edge rushers are gone, you can reach on a guy if you want to, but Buffalo has no need to reach. Take a guy that's going to be a surefire, shore up that secondary. And again, it's I think Stokes and Farley are neck and neck with each other. Stokes just didn't have the limelight that Farley did. Caleb Farley's back injury is really concerning to me. I have him going off my board at 19. Is he off your board yet, or is he still falling right now?
He's still falling.
So wow. Is he? I don't want to ask. We'll get there. He's not going to fall. He's going to go 32 to. Okay, it's all right. I'm back. I picked it up. I picked up what you were putting down. Number 31.
Well, there's a guy that's not off my board yet. So 31, I actually changed a couple picks up. So I probably have the wrong pick because I have the Ravens taking Elijah Moore at 27. And then I actually doing this, put Rashad Bateman there as well. That's not going to happen. They're not going to take wide receivers 4 picks apart. So I'm going to let you take this one.
Asante Samuel Jr.
Okay.
Address a little bit of the secondary. Baltimore's defense used to be the most frightening thing in the NFL. Not that Asante Samuel Jr. is a frightening player. Just to, again, when you have a quarterback who has proven to be so up and down and hot and cold in Lamar Jackson, you need the best you can get defensively, especially come the postseason. I think Asante Samuel Jr., not a lot of pressure, back end of the first round. Again, a great clout in his name, going to a good franchise with a good coaching staff and good management. I think he's a guy that could really ascend. 5 years from now, we probably look at 31 and go, holy fucking shit, how did guys like Caleb Farley or any of these other guys go before him? I think it's the best option for him to end up there.
So I think there's 2 guys that could go. I could see them going defensive end. I could see a guy like, if they really like Rousseau, I know he's falling off people's first-round draft boards. Gregory Rousseau from Miami could be a guy that goes there. I also like your pick, Carlos Basham. If he's still available, he might go there.
You got to pick one.
Yeah, so I would go with Basham.
Basham?
Yeah.
How fucking awesome is that a defensive end's last name is Basham?
I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but it sounds good.
Basham? It shouldn't be. It should be Basham.
Basham. Yeah, well.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Here it is. Give it to me. Huh?
Well, Eric Stokes is still on my board. So draft for depth, they need to – the only position that they could maybe use another starter in a year or two, I think they're losing one of their starters next year. These guys have every player that started the Super Bowl for them coming back to their team. Antonio Brown just signed today. They don't need anything else on offense. If there's a good running back that falls, they might take him but they have Ronald Jones and they have Leonard Fournette, so they're probably not going to address it this year, maybe address it if someone becomes available at some point in the middle of the season. Eric Stokes shores up a secondary for them that if you want to point out a weakness, if you can even use that term for the Bucs, that
Caleb
would be
Farley falls out of the first round.
Yep.
Well, so my pick is also somebody who fell down my board. He didn't fall down yours. Let me just go back and find out where he was drafted. Where did you have him? Fuck, I know you said it.
You already did Newsome.
Motherfucker, hold on a second.
I don't know who you're thinking of.
Wide receiver.
Moore?
Bateman.
Oh, Bateman. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
here's why. Let me justify this before anybody fucking lights me on fire here. Antonio Brown is not coming back after this season. He signed a 1-year deal to run it back again and try to win another title, obviously. I don't know if Tom Brady's going to have another year in him. I hope he does. I want to see this motherfucker play football till his arm falls off. A kid like Bateman to have Mike Evans 7 years into his career now, Antonio Brown, who for a period of 5 years was the best wide receiver in football. I think, again, no pressure. I mean, you're fourth on the depth chart on day one. You're not going to be over Godwin. You're not going to be over Antonio Brown. You're not going to be over Mike Evans.
Gronk, O.J. Howard. Yeah.
Now, what this does do, if you were to end up with a guy like Rashad Bateman and Bateman panned out for you, if that were to happen, next season, come the offseason, a guy who makes a shitload of money like Mike Evans can be moved on from, who's a little bit older than Godwin, and you have a guy to step right into his role so you can keep Godwin and lock him up for the long term. I think there's too much versatility here to not go that route. Obviously, Stokes is off my board, and so is Asante Samuel Jr. I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you. If one of those guys fall, I agree. But Rashad Bateman can't fall out of the first round for me.
I think if he's probably not going to fall out of the first round, somebody's going to take him. They just drafted a wide receiver in round 2 or 3 last year from Minnesota. It was Tyler Johnson, who made some big plays on the field for them last year when he was on the field, but he had 3 Pro Bowl level wide receivers on the field, and he didn't get on the field much. So Godwin is on a 1-year deal. Antonio Brown is on a 1-year deal. Mike Evans is a highly paid wide receiver. It wouldn't surprise me if they addressed it, but they want to win another Super Bowl this year because Brady has 2. He's going to play for 2 more years. So I think you have to address what you think is going to be an immediate need this year since you have all of your starters returning.
Here's the problem. I don't think that team has a need. That's what
I'm saying. I think the secondary, if you can say it's a need, it's more of a want. But this is for the first time in a very long time, the 32nd team in the draft to me literally has a luxury pick. I mean, it is an absolute luxury. If just so Tom Brady could fuck with Bill Belichick, I wouldn't be surprised if they drafted Kyle Trask if Bill didn't get a quarterback in the first round. They can do anything they want to do, and it doesn't matter. They're still going to be great. I want to run through a couple of highlights real fast. So you have Chase at 6. I have Chase at 5. I agree he's not going past the top 6. I cannot convince myself that the Jamar Chase smoke is there's no fire with Cincinnati. And again, it's not a consolation prize to get the number 1 rated tackle for your 5th overall franchise quarterback that most of us
current company, not included in this, knows is a bust anyway. But just to protect yourself and your asset, you get the top-rated offensive lineman, and you be happy with it. I have Micah Parsons going high. Was Micah Parsons drafted in your board? I don't even remember you saying his name.
Yeah, 10th to the Cowboys.
10th to the Cowboys, right? The sexy pick to the Cowboys, which is where I have Patrick Surtain. The big thing in the top 15 picks, Eagles specific for me, I would not be surprised a little bit if it only cost a middle round pick this year and a middle round pick next year. I would not be surprised at all with Howie exchanging 12-9 and jumping ahead of the Cowboys to get Patrick Surtain. You have Surtain going 9 to Atlanta. I still think that trade is a fucking pipe dream. I think you and the Magic Dragon have had a wonderful evening before we spoke tonight. I just, again, I don't see, they don't need to move. Justin Fields is going to be there at 9. No other team is jumping them unless Bill Belichick pulls out, which again, I do want to put this out because it drafts tomorrow. Bill Belichick has never done any of the things that he's done so far this offseason. All of our Bill Belichick playbook.
Everybody's mocking him to do with also another thing that he's never done. So I'm not going to be surprised by anything. That's a lie. I'm going to be surprised if Bill Belichick gives up assets. I'm not surprised so much at the free agent spending after watching Brady win a Super Bowl and going off character. But Bill Belichick does not give up assets. He drafts, he plugs guys in, and he gets a lot out of them for what they
figures it out, bro. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo is a prime example. I mean, look at the career of Jimmy Garoppolo, Jacoby Brissett. Look at these guys that he's had that he's gotten success out of. Cam Newton had arguably the best season of his career, sans his MVP season, since that time. I mean, he didn't look great, but he didn't use him as a quarterback.
I wouldn't say that. He had a good 4 games, got hurt, and then couldn't throw the football for the last fucking.
Well, that's because he's not a good quarterback. It's because just like Tua Tagovailoa, he's not a good quarterback.
Though he can throw it, he just
but do you know what the difference between a guy like Cam Newton and Michael Vick is? Cam Newton can gun the football. There's no doubt. He's got an arm as big as anybody. But Michael Vick was accurate. Not in Atlanta after prison. I don't know what he learned in jail, but whatever it was, it worked out for the Eagles.
Yeah, he had Andy Reid. That's what happened.
Yeah, again, man, this is why I don't think I honestly wouldn't be surprised, bro, if 15 comes and Mac Jones is on the board and Bill Belichick knows without giving up much. Like, this is what we're forgetting, right? We talk about the Eagles. Zach Ertz is still an Eagle. Now, probably not after tomorrow. He's probably a draft day trade guy.
He's going to be traded, yeah.
But just like Zach Ertz, I heard a name coming out of New England for the last 4 months that nobody's talked about the last couple of weeks. Stephon Gilmore is on the trade block. So if Bill Belichick can give 15 and Stephon Gilmore for 9, for 7, wherever it is, then yeah, I can see him pulling off a trade like that. But then that means he's got to address corner in the second round. I would not be shocked if Bill Belichick stands pat at 15, adds to this team, and uses Stephon Gilmore to get up into either the back 4 picks of the first round or the first 4 picks of the second round, and Kyle Trask is his quarterback of the future.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he offered Chicago or Washington that 15 pick if Mac Jones is available, traded back to one of their positions, built assets, and then took Trask or Mond in the second round. And Trask is more of a fit for the Patriots. Mond is a fit elsewhere, but yeah, I agree with those points. So that's a good mock draft. That's an hour. Wrapping it up. Thursday is, tomorrow, I guess, is the NFL draft. It's being held in Cleveland. First round should take, usually 3.5 hours.
Yeah, what time does it start? 7:30 or 8 o'clock?
Let's see. NFL draft start time is 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. So I should be, I work in cars, Aaron, as you know this, so who the fuck knows, but I should be home by the time the draft happens. I plan on being active on the Big Facts page. If we get some time tomorrow night and my kids are all right, maybe for the Eagles pick we hop on. We'll try to get on here. I know that you're probably going to try to jump on a couple of times.
Yeah.
There is going to be, I believe, even though I think your trades are fucking half-baked, I believe there's going to be trades. I don't think we know half of what's going to go down. Julio Jones, Zach Ertz, Stephon Gilmore. There's so many guys that could move. And then you have teams that have legit needs coming in the future, like the Kansas City Chiefs, who don't have a first-round draft pick, who have a $50 million quarterback. Now, I know they addressed a lot of things in free agency.
God,
I know
they got
that
a tackle the other day. Jeez, I can't believe that happened.
They filled a lot of holes. Speaking of which we didn't talk about, Baltimore trading away their tackle and Lamar Jackson. That's, again, your screenshots. We got to do that on Wednesday again. That one you sent me about Lamar Jackson fucking throwing his phone against the wall was just great. There's teams, dude, that need to find a way into, let's say, the 25 to 45 range. Not necessarily the first round, but they're going to need to find their way in. And I'm going to be very curious to see, because of this COVID-shortened year, a lot of guys we didn't see a lot of, nobody knows for sure this year, how many of these teams in 20 to 32 just aren't in love with the guy. They just don't know. And maybe they trade backwards. You know what I mean?
And I'm curious. There's two guys that are going to go in the second, early third, probably both in the second, that I'm really looking forward to seeing where they go, because I think given the right situation, they can be better than a couple of these first-round guys. One of them's obviously Kyle Trask. The other one's Kellen Mond. The two landing spots for those two, and I think Washington's going to have a shot at them. I think the Bears are going to have a shot at one of them. I think the Patriots are going to have a shot if they decide to go in the second round. So these guys are going to land in a situation where wherever they go, they're either going to have a really good coach or a really good defense, or both. So they're going to be able to sit a year, sit behind Fitzpatrick, Dalton, Cam Newton, learn, and then step in possibly the following year and have a good career as a starter in the NFL. We'll be back.
To me, could be the Justin Herbert this year. Cam Newton goes down in week 3, week 4. Trask could step in on that New England team and do serious damage with a head coach like Bill Belichick.
Yeah. So that's all we got for you guys. We'll be back on Sunday to discuss the draft, discuss the Eagles pick. Did they make we're probably going to be upset on Sunday. We have been for the last couple years.
If history's any indication.
Yeah, the last good pick was Wentz, and that didn't work out well. We were excited after that, at least, though. So we'll see you guys Sunday, 9 p.m. We'll talk to you then. Big Facts, all streaming platforms. Comment on the Big Facts page so we can see it when we're live, and we will see you guys Sunday.
All right, homie.